your compelling talk radio, 1320 WILS.
Lots of folks worry about their firearms, but Lars doesn't have to worry about Biden taking his guns. He stores them upstairs. This is the Larson Show.
Big iron on his head. Welcome back to the Larson Show. It's a pleasure to be with you, and I'm always glad to get to your phone calls and emails. It's honestly provocative talk for the United States of America. And I'm glad to welcome Mark Mix, who's with the National Right to Work Foundation, serves as the president of that group. Hey, Mark, welcome back.
Lars, good to be on with you. It's been a little while, but the problems haven't diminished, have they?
No, they really haven't. And I mean, this one's kind of a weird conjunction of labor unions in America spending money on anti-Israel propaganda. What in the world is the connection there?
Yeah, Lars, this is unfortunately all too often happens in the workplace when a union goes out and basically takes positions on things that have nothing to do with the work or the bargaining unit or the people they represent, but it has everything to do with a political ideology that they want to promote. And what we have here is four Jewish graduate students at MIT, very prestigious university in Massachusetts, that basically are forced to associate and will be penalized if they don't financially support a union that's come out and basically attacked, Israel, attacked Judaism. They are part of the Boycott, Divest, and Sanction Israel program. And these Jewish PhD candidates that are teaching and doing things on the campus are required to associate and pay fees as part of a payroll deduction program to basically keep their assignments, if you will, as graduate students. And yet somehow some people don't think that's wrong, but they're supporting a union that's against their religion and their culture.
Let me ask you something, and this is a legal detail question, but the Janus decision says if you work in a government job that you don't have to be a member of a union. Would that not apply to MIT?
This is a private university, therefore they come under the jurisdiction of the National Labor Relations Act. That's right, Lars. Yep.
I guess I'd always thought of Massachusetts Institute of Technology as something that grew out of the state of Massachusetts, but clearly I was wrong about that. So there you go. So they're forced, they have to belong to the the United Electrical, Radio, and Machine Workers of America. That's one of those that I'd never heard of before. I've heard of IBEW and IATSE and all the rest of them, but that's a new one on me.
Yeah, this is actually a subsidiary. It's the MIT Graduate Student Union, and they're not required to be members, Lars. Even in the private sector, you can't be forced to be a formal member of the union, but you can be forced under federal law to pay up to 100% of dues. And interestingly enough, one of our clients in the case, Will Sussman, actually had already brought a previous action against the union and was able to exercise his rights under a case that we won that affected private sector workers called Beck versus Communication Workers of America that says you can't be forced to pay for political or ideological causes. But what these these graduate school students are talking about and what they're asking for is simply an accommodation. They just want their money to go to a charity as opposed to a union that's attacking their very livelihood. In fact, Lars, this is really the outrage here, is that when they tendered their letters saying we would like to support a charity and get a religious accommodation against this union that's coming out against our religion and our culture and our ethnicity, the union wrote back and said this in a form letter. It said that basically no principles or teachings or tenets of Judaism prohibit membership or the payment of dues or fees to a labor union. And in fact, the founder of this particular union was Jewish, so therefore you have no claim. I mean, that's the remedial education that the union offered to these four Jewish students. Yeah, right. The same thing I said when I saw it, Lars. What?
I mean, the fact that the founder of the union was Jewish, I don't think has anything to do with it. What does have something to do with it is if you're forced to pay union dues to a union that goes out and then takes positions that are anti-Israel, which, as you said, seems to have absolutely nothing to do with I would guess that if the union went to the Massachusetts legislature or to the United States Congress, said we'd like to see more money put into STEM education, that might arguably have something to do with the graduate students at MIT. But, favoring one side or the other in Israel in its war with Hamas has nothing to do with it, does it?
Not at all. And one of the things we've seen since October 7th, Lars, and obviously it's specific to this particular situation, but we've seen a whole bunch of unions take positions on this issue, much to the chagrin and much to the discouragement of, quote, their members that they claim to represent. And again, I mean, the idea of this having anything to do with the workplace or anything to do with the actual employment, the terms and conditions of their employment, is really a stretch. But that's what happens when you allow someone to have the privilege of forced association, and then on top of that, to add insult to injury, the ability to force someone to pay for that forced association. That's where we are.
Just so people understand, freedom of association is a First Amendment right. But I would think by natural extension, freedom to associate also means freedom to disassociate and not be associated with something. Mark, thanks for the work you do at the National Right to Work Foundation.
We appreciate it, Lars. Thank you for bringing attention to these issues as you have done in the past. So thank you.
I'm always glad to do it, Mark. Thanks very much.